Long, long ago, in a peaceful village nestled among the rolling hills of Japan, there lived an elderly couple. They were simple peasants who had worked hard all their lives to earn their daily rice. The old man spent his days cutting grass for the local farmers, while the old woman tended to their humble home and worked in their small rice field. Despite their hard work and contentment, there was one thing that brought them sorrow: they had no children to care for in their old age. One bright summer morning, the old man rose early to head into the hills to cut grass. The world around him was fresh with the deep greens of early summer, the leaves glistening with dew under the soft rays of the morning sun. As he made his way up the hillside, his wife gathered a basket of clothes and went down to the river to wash them. The riverbank was bathed in sunlight, and the soft breeze that rustled the willows made the day feel perfect. The old woman found a peaceful spot by the river, where the water flowed clear and sparkling over smooth stones. The air was cool, and the scent of blooming wildflowers drifted on the breeze. She knelt down, dipping the clothes into the water, her hands working rhythmically as she rubbed them clean. The fish darted about in the crystal-clear stream, their tiny bodies flashing as they swam, and the old woman marveled at how serene and beautiful the world was that day. As she was busy with her washing, something caught her eye. Floating down the river, bobbing along with the current, was a giant peach so large and perfect that it glistened in the sunlight like a treasure. She blinked in surprise. In all her years, she had never seen such an enormous fruit. "Oh, what a marvelous peach!" she exclaimed, her face lighting up with excitement. "I must get that peach and bring it home for my husband. He'll be so pleased." But the peach was drifting just out of reach, and the old woman had no stick to pull it closer. Thinking quickly, she remembered an old charm her mother had taught her. She stood up, clapped her hands in rhythm with the rolling of the peach, and sang an old song softly under her breath. "Distant water is bitter, the near water is sweet. Pass by the distant water, and come into the sweet." To her amazement, as soon as she finished the song, the peach began to float closer and closer, as if drawn by her words. At last, it bumped gently against the riverbank right in front of her. Laughing with joy, the old woman picked up the enormous peach and, with her laundry forgotten, hurried home to show her husband the extraordinary fruit. The hours passed slowly as the old woman waited for her husband to return. When the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden light over the fields, the old man finally came home, his back bent under the weight of the large bundle of grass he carried. He looked weary, leaning on his scythe for support as he approached their little house. "Oh, pheasant, old man," called the old woman as soon as she saw him. "I've been waiting for you all day. Something wonderful has happened." "What is it?" he asked, surprised by her excitement. What could be so important? The old woman could hardly contain her joy. "Look at this," she exclaimed, running inside to retrieve the peach. She carried it out to him, its weight heavy in her arms. "Have you ever seen such a peach in all your life?" The old man's eyes widened as he looked at the giant fruit. "This is truly the largest peach I've ever seen. Where did you find it?" The old woman told him the story of how it had floated down the river toward her, and the old man marveled at the strange occurrence. "Let's eat it," he said, his stomach growling. He fetched a knife from the kitchen, eager to cut into the luscious fruit. But just as he was about to slice it open, a strange thing happened. The peach split in two all by itself, and from its center, a voice called out, "Wait, old man." Startled, the old couple stepped back as the peach fell apart, revealing a beautiful baby boy lying inside. The child smiled up at them, his face glowing with warmth and kindness. "Do not be afraid," the boy said. "I am no ordinary child. Heaven has heard your prayers for a son and sent me to you. I am Momotaro, the son of a peach, and I am here to bring you joy in your old age." Overcome with happiness, the old man and woman embraced the child. They had longed for a child for so many years, and now, miraculously, their wish had been granted. They named him Momotaro and raised him with love and care. Years passed, and Momotaro grew into a strong and handsome young man, taller and mightier than any of the other boys in the village. He was not only brave, but also kind-hearted and wise beyond his years. The old couple took great pride in him, knowing that he was destined for greatness. One day, when Momotaro was 15, he approached his father with a solemn expression. "Father," he said, "you and mother have been so kind to me, raising me as your own. I am forever grateful. But now I must ask something of you. Please, let me leave for a time." "Leave?" the old man asked in surprise. "Where would you go, my son?" "I have heard tales of an island to the northeast," Momotaro explained. "It is the stronghold of a band of evil demons who terrorize our land, stealing from the people and disobeying the emperor. They are wicked and cruel, and I must go to defeat them and bring peace to our land." The old man was taken aback, but he understood that his son was no ordinary boy. Momotaro had come from the heavens, and his strength and courage were unmatched. Though it pained him to let his son go, he nodded in agreement. "Go, my son. Fulfill your destiny. But remember, we will be waiting for your safe return." The old couple prepared rice cakes to sustain Momotaro on his journey. With their hearts full of pride and sadness, they bid their son farewell. As Momotaro walked away, his figure growing smaller in the distance, the old couple's eyes filled with tears, hoping for his swift and victorious return. Momotaro journeyed on, the sun climbing steadily in the sky until it hung directly overhead. The heat of the day was heavy, and as hunger began to gnaw at him, he decided it was time to rest and eat. Finding a tall tree that cast a generous shade beside the road, he sat down, reached into his pack, and drew out a rice cake. The scent of the soft, freshly made cake filled the air as he took his first bite. Just as Momotaro was enjoying his meal, a sudden rustling came from the high grass. A large dog, nearly the size of a small horse, emerged. Its fur bristled as it bared its sharp teeth, its eyes gleaming with menace. "Who dares pass through my field without paying tribute?" growled the dog, its voice deep and threatening. "Leave me all your rice cakes, or I'll tear you to shreds." Momotaro, unfazed, wiped his mouth and rose to his feet, laughing with disdain. "You threaten me? Do you not know who I am?" he said, his voice steady and commanding. "I am Momotaro, on a mission to defeat the devils who plague this land. Stand in my way, and I will slice you in two without a second thought." The dog's ferocity melted away at once. Its ears flattened, and it lowered itself to the ground, its body trembling with newfound humility. "Forgive me," it whimpered, bowing low. "I did not know I was in the presence of the great Momotaro. I have heard stories of your strength and bravery. Please, allow me to accompany you on your journey. I will serve you loyally and fight by your side." Momotaro looked at the dog thoughtfully. "Very well," he said. "But first, let me see your loyalty. I will give you half of one of my cakes." The dog's eyes brightened with gratitude. "Thank you. I am starving," it said eagerly. Momotaro broke off a piece of the rice cake and tossed it to the dog, who devoured it hungrily. With his new companion at his side, Momotaro continued down the road. They traveled through rolling hills and deep valleys, until the rustling of branches above caught their attention. Out of a tall tree swung a lithe monkey, its eyes gleaming with intelligence as it landed gracefully before them. "Good day, Momotaro," said the monkey, with a respectful bow. "I have heard of your noble quest to defeat the devils, and I wish to join you on this journey." Before Momotaro could reply, the dog growled, stepping forward with hackles raised. "What use is a creature like you in battle? A scrawny monkey can't possibly help us fight devils. Be gone." The monkey's eyes flashed with irritation. "I may be small, but I'm quick and clever," it retorted. "Besides, who are you to speak for Momotaro?" The two animals were soon snarling and circling each other, teeth bared and ready to pounce. Momotaro sighed and stepped between them, holding up a hand. "Enough," he commanded. "This is no time for petty quarrels. We are on a mission, and there is no room for discord. If you cannot get along, then neither of you will accompany me." Both the dog and the monkey quieted immediately, cowed by Momotaro's stern gaze. The monkey bowed once more. "Forgive me, Momotaro. I only wish to prove my worth. Please, let me join you. I'll fight with all my strength." Momotaro nodded. "Very well. Here, take half a rice cake as a token of my trust." The monkey eagerly accepted the food, and the three of them continued their journey. Though the dog and the monkey shot occasional glares at each other, they walked in silence. After some time, they reached a wide, open field. A beautiful bird swooped down from the sky, landing before them with a flurry of colorful feathers. Its plumage shimmered with hues of emerald, gold, and sapphire, and a brilliant red crest crowned its head. This bird was unlike any Momotaro had seen before. Before he could speak, the dog rushed at the bird, barking furiously, but the bird was swift, darting upward and diving back down to strike at the dog with its sharp beak and talons. The dog yelped as the bird circled him, but refused to back down. Momotaro watched the battle with the raised eyebrow, impressed by the bird's spirit. Stepping forward, he called out, "Enough! Bird, you have proven your strength, but you are hindering my mission. Submit to me, or I will let my dog finish this fight." The bird, recognizing defeat, lowered its head in submission. "I beg your pardon, great Momotaro," it said in a clear, respectful voice. "I did not know it was you. I am but a humble pheasant, and I would be honored to join your company. Please, let me fight at your side." Momotaro smiled. "You have courage. I accept you into my group." He handed the pheasant a piece of cake, and the bird joined their ranks. Now, with a dog, a monkey, and a pheasant by his side, Momotaro gathered them all together. "Listen well," he said, his voice firm. "The strength of an army comes from unity. No matter how strong we are individually, we cannot succeed if we quarrel amongst ourselves. From now on, you must all work together as one, or I will send you away." The animals all bowed their heads, promising to put aside their differences for the sake of the mission. With their newfound harmony, the group pressed forward, walking for days until they finally reached the northeastern shore. The vast ocean stretched out before them, endless and deep, with not a single island in sight. The sound of the waves crashing on the shore filled the air, but there was no sign of the devil's stronghold yet. The dog, monkey, and pheasant had bravely followed Momotaro through endless valleys and over towering hills, but now, standing at the edge of the vast sea, they found themselves speechless. The endless stretch of water, shimmering under the sunlight, was unlike anything they had ever seen. For the first time on their journey, fear crept into their hearts. They exchanged nervous glances, unsure how they would reach the distant island of devils. Momotaro noticed their hesitation and, deciding to test their resolve, spoke sharply. "Why do you hesitate? Are you frightened by the sea?" His voice was harsh, cutting through the silence. "Cowards! I see now that you are too weak to continue this journey. I'll go alone and discharge you all." The three animals recoiled at his words, their bravery crumbling. In desperation, they clung to Momotaro's sleeves, their eyes wide with pleading. "Please, Momotaro," whimpered the dog, tail tucked between its legs. "We've come so far," cried the monkey, its voice trembling. "It would be cruel to leave us behind," added the pheasant, flapping its wings anxiously. The monkey, regaining a bit of courage, spoke again. "We are not afraid of the sea, I swear." The pheasant nodded vigorously. "Please take us with you. We won't falter. Please don't abandon us." The dog echoed, its voice filled with sincerity. Seeing their determination return, Momotaro softened. He crossed his arms, letting the tension hang for a moment before he spoke again. "Very well," he said. "I'll take you with me, but remember, there is no room for weakness." With that, Momotaro arranged for a small boat, sturdy and swift. They all boarded, and soon enough, the wind filled the sail, pushing them forward across the sea. The ship sliced through the waves, steady as an arrow. Though the animals had never been on the water before, and the rise and fall of the ocean made their stomachs churn, they gradually adapted to the motion of the vessel. In time, they grew comfortable, and their spirits lifted. To pass the time, they paced the deck, eyes fixed on the horizon, searching for any sign of the Devil's Island. When the endless blue of the sea tired them, they entertained themselves by telling stories, each animal boasting of past adventures and victories. The dog spoke of its strength in chasing down thieves, the monkey of its cleverness in outwitting larger foes, and the pheasant of its speed and grace in the sky. Their tales filled the air with laughter, and even Momotaro found himself smiling at their antics, forgetting, for a brief time, the arduousness of the journey. The voyage was blessed with fair weather, and soon, one bright afternoon, a dark shape appeared on the horizon. "Land!" cried the dog, excitement sparking in its voice. Momotaro's sharp eyes narrowed, recognizing the outline of cliffs rising from the sea. Perched atop them was the devil's stronghold, a massive, foreboding castle with towering iron gates and walls that stretched toward the sky. The time had come. Momotaro's mood grew serious as they neared the shore, his brow furrowed in thought, contemplating their next move. His companions waited for orders, sensing the gravity of the moment. At last, he turned to the pheasant, whose wings twitched in anticipation. "You will be our vanguard," Momotaro said, his voice resolute. "Fly to the castle and challenge the demons. We'll follow closely behind." The pheasant beat its wings proudly, eager to serve. "Leave it to me," it squawked, and with that, it took to the sky, soaring toward the stronghold. The bird flew straight to the castle, landing boldly on the rooftop. With a loud, clear voice, it called down to the demons below. "Listen well, devils. Momotaro, the great warrior from Japan, has come to challenge you. Surrender now, break the horns from your heads, and spare your lives, or prepare to face destruction at the hands of the dog, the monkey, and me." The demons, lounging in their dark chambers, heard the pheasant's cry and rushed outside, laughing uproariously. "A bird, a wild pheasant dares to threaten us?" One of them sneered. "Wait until we crush you with our iron bars." The devils, their red hair bristling and their tiger skin trousers tightening around their muscular legs, brandished heavy iron clubs. They rushed to the rooftops, shaking their horns in fury, trying to knock the pheasant from its perch. But the bird was swift, darting through the air with ease, evading every blow. It pecked at the heads of the devils, diving in and out with such speed that the demons were left bewildered, unsure whether they were fighting one bird or many. Meanwhile, Momotaro's ship had landed. From the shore, he surveyed the steep cliffs and the high walls of the castle. "There must be a way in," he muttered, and with his dog and monkey at his side, he began to search for an entrance. As they made their way up the narrow path, they came upon two young women kneeling by a stream, washing clothes stained with blood. Their faces were pale, and tears flowed freely down their cheeks. Momotaro's heart stirred with compassion, and he approached them. "Who are you, and why do you weep?" he asked gently. The older of the two looked up, her eyes red from crying. "We are the daughters of noble lords, captured by the demons and forced to serve them. One day, they will kill us and feast upon our flesh," she said, holding up the blood-stained garments. "There is no escape for us." Momotaro's expression hardened. "I will free you, but first, show me how to enter the castle." The maidens nodded gratefully and led him to a hidden door at the base of the fortress wall. The entrance was so small that even Momotaro had to crouch to crawl inside. The dog and monkey followed close behind. Inside the castle, the battle was already underway. The pheasant continued to harass the demons from above, and the sudden appearance of Momotaro and his companions threw the devils into disarray. They had been fighting one bird, but now they faced a whirlwind of attacks. The dog bit fiercely at their legs, while the monkey swung from the rafters, slashing at them with the sword. Momotaro himself fought like a storm, his strength overwhelming the devils. They fell from the parapets, dashed against the rocks below, or plunged into the sea, where they drowned. At last, only the Demon King remained. Trembling, he threw down his iron club and knelt before Momotaro. With a trembling hand, he broke off his horns, the symbol of his power, and offered them up. "Spare me," he pleaded. "I will give you all the treasure in my castle, but please, do not take my life." Momotaro looked down at the groveling devil, his face stern. "You beg for mercy now, but you have brought nothing but suffering to my people. Your crimes cannot go unpunished." He bound the demon king and handed him over to the monkey. With the enemy defeated, Momotaro explored the castle, freeing the captives and gathering the treasure that had been stolen from the land. When the dog and the pheasant had finished loading the treasure, they sailed home in triumph. The captives, including the 2 daughters of the noble lords, were safely returned to their families. The people celebrated Momotaro as a hero, for the devils who had terrorized the land for so long were no more. Back at home, the old couple who had raised Momotaro wept with joy at his return. With the treasure he had brought, they lived in peace and prosperity for the rest of their days, never having to worry again. And so, the tale of Momotaro, the hero who vanquished the demons, was told across the land for generations to come. Moral: courage and unity can overcome any obstacle, even when faced with overwhelming challenges, like the vast sea or powerful enemies. Momotaro and his companions showed that bravery, determination, and working together as a team can lead to success. Additionally, true strength lies not only in physical power, but in kindness, justice, and the willingness to stand up for those who cannot defend themselves. This moral emphasizes the importance of loyalty, friendship, and the belief that good will ultimately triumph over evil.